So in this video today, I'm going to explain you why document management is important, why you need to have a document management system. And I'm going to share the secret on my secret on how to build a good document management structure, which is critical to your organization. Everybody works with files and folders. So let's dive into this. I'm Steve Johnston, a serial entrepreneur, and I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs to succeed. And I'm very excited to use this channel to share all my valuable resources with you to help you reach your goal. Come and join me, let's work together, and we'll get your digital transformation a success. So let's start with why document management is so important. So yes, in your organizations, for sure, your employees are working with folders and files, and hopefully they start to work with metadata. But for sure, files and folders, this is the key element since like many years now. So if you have a good structure, you can increase the collaboration. You can have like all your documents organized in a good way, and somebody that can work in a different team for different reasons, they can find exactly how it is structured if you do your job well, and we're going to go through that later. So again, and the second one is if it is well organized, obviously it's easier to search, it's easier to retrieve your files or their files, so that's faster. You can improve efficiency and productivity over time. And also, by having a right document structure, having like libraries, folders, and files at the right location, and they stay there, it's not improvised by anybody in the organization, you can give access, you can give permissions to the right people that you are collaborating with. Example, marketing team is working on a PowerPoint template, you put it somewhere, it's available in read-only mode, and the people, everybody in the organization, they have access to this file or this folder or this library, and they can pick it up. They can pick up the latest version, and because they have access only in read-only mode, so they don't have an issue with this. So it doesn't create any issue, doesn't change your file. So the marketing team is safe or doesn't have to worry about having this file being modified by somebody else. So very quick example on how you can collaborate and exchange. And this way, in that example, the employees, they have the latest PowerPoint version for the company. So in terms of this structure and those permission management configuration, this is key also to reduce the risk of losing files, losing data, because you can limit the people to read only versus read and write, and even make more changes. So those are the first 4 document management items that are very important for you, and you should work on this. So more to come. So other key aspects of the importance of the document management system within your business is if your employees can find the files and the information quicker, obviously you can increase the customer service. So there is an impact on the customer experience at the end, which should be the goal of many business transformation. You have to make sure that the customers are benefiting from the changes that you're doing and the money that you're investing. So if you invest in a document management system and you do it well, your employees will be faster to search, access the information, and deliver the information right to the customers for the benefit of your company. And obviously, by having something well structured, you reduce the cost. And also by having the right structure, you can extract data. You can have like the metadata, you can have statistics, you can have number of files, you can have different things that help you in some way to a better business intelligence. So better decision making can be made because you know what's going on with your files and folders and the size of them and how they are used and manipulated. So that helps also about data accuracy and reliability of the files you have. Because in any file or any data, you need to have a life cycle. It cannot stick forever in one location and you keep it in a temp folder forever and nobody uses it. So you need to have that. And if you take care, if you manage this life cycle, you only keep what's useful, what's beneficial to your organization. And this way you have good data, you have good files, and you can extract information again for better decision making overall. And again, I already mentioned it, but a customer experience is key, and document management It sounds like it is only internal, but in fact, there is a big impact on the customer experience if your employees are more efficient at looking, searching, and finding files for your customers. So now my secret on how you can build your own document management system on whatever platform you have. So perhaps you've seen my video about people, process, and technology, and that's the starting point. So by meeting your people, finding their culture, the way they work team by team, looking at what are the skills they have and they don't have, this is how you can start to understand how do they work, how they are structuring their files and folders right now. And by knowing how they do right now, you can build something for them. So the starting point are what are their needs, how do they operate, and what's the culture about files? Do they already have a tool? It's only files and folders, and how they categorize these things is important for you to understand as a step number one. Step number two about processes. Again, looking the structure is one thing, but how do they work with files? Are they sending emails? Are they sharing links when they work with files? And how do they categorize that? Do they save in a temporary folder and somebody look at them and categorize them later? You don't know. Just meet them and look at how do they work every day when they work with files and they manipulate files. In terms of technology, so what do they use to manipulate their files? Do they have like on the Windows Explorer or whatever on Mac OS as well? Do they work with permission management? Are they limiting access to certain people on certain things, or they create multiple folders and they hide that on their computer, or even worse, on their desktop computer without any protection, any cloud? So, and by looking at what do they have right now, what do they use, you should look at all the teams to understand exactly what do they use. Is it one tool for everybody? Is it multiple tools or one tool per team? And do you need to change the technology in that case to improve the processes to help your people to be more efficient? So after you have gone through all these three big steps and smaller steps, team by team, to understand what each team requires in order to improve their efficiency with their document manipulation. So the approach has to be, my approach is a bottom-up approach that you are looking at team by team to understand what's specific to each team, but also what's common to all teams. Both things are very important to understand how you can improve efficiency, because the common things are very important for you, because you can say, oh, they all behave this way in each team, so let's make that like the big rule of how we should work with files. And they can have some certain specific things that you could propose something that you could change to help them, or no, it's impossible because it's marketing, they have to collaborate with a marketing company and they need to have an external site example. And with this, they can really, really collaborate well, which is not the same for the people working in the accounting department. So all these things can be specific to departments, to teams, but look at what's common as well. That's going to help you to understand that. But you do that from a bottom-up approach, so team by team again. So, and complementary to that, a top-down approach after that. So once you have all the blocks, and we're going to go through that in a few minutes, but the top-down approach is now you need to regroup things that are common, regroup departments that make sense to regroup together, and you move down this way and you are getting to the sweet spot of the top-down approach but with the bottom-up approach. You need to work both ways to find the sweet spot. And obviously, you need to align all of this with the business objectives. So let's start by the beginning, the bottom-up approach. So as I said, you need to meet with each team. So when you look at these teams, you need to think about, okay, we need to build the equivalent of a team site. By building a team site with libraries, folders, and files, you need to sit down with them and get back to them with a proposal. You've listened to them, you've watched them to see what were their skills, And from that, you can start to propose something. Here, this is very, very high level at this point, and this is only for the internal piece of the document management system. The second big block of a team's document management system is what they need to provide externally if they have collaborators, if they need to share files externally. This is something that we need to treat separately because you need to be careful about cybersecurity. I won't go in details in this video, but it's important to have the equivalent of a firewall to protect those files when they are shared externally. And the last point is if you want to build an intranet, which is a good piece to build, especially with remote work, what are the documents and libraries and files that these members of the team can share or should share with the rest of the employees? So intranet is a different beast as well. We won't go in details here, but let's focus on libraries, files, and folders for each team. So from the bottom-up approach, for each team, you're building the same structure. So team side, regrouping libraries and folders, one team, second team, third team. And from that point, you have a structure. And when I see the regrouping aspect of the top-down approach is really to, okay, it could be the leader of operations manages accounting, IT, and HR. So that could be the three teams that are regrouped at a higher level with a hub site, something that joins everything. So the leader can be here and can access all those team sites easily. And the team leads or team lead can access his own structure. So well categorized, well divided in a certain way, but also collaborative between teams with permission management. And the leader has access to all of them easily without having to do anything special. So once you have this internal structure in place, so everybody has their own site and libraries and folders, you can think about, okay, now if they are collaborating with other people externally, you can create an external sites, I should say. You can create an external libraries shared on a different site, which is publicly seen. I shouldn't say publicly, but publicly seen to collaborators only, with some protection as well in terms of who should log, who can log, to make sure you're well protected. And the second big piece is all about internal stuff, but what could be good for the employees' experience internally? What are the elements that the employees requires all the time? They are asking HR all the time. So you can put that on an intranet. And this is something you can build as a starting point, focusing on HR material, after that IT material, and other stuff. So I think we can do a video just about this and a video just about that, and I will eventually. So, but this is like the structure that you can build, which is well categorized and more efficient over time. So this setup is for, like in my example, like for operations, having accounting, IT, and HR. So this is one team, not a small one, but one team. Now let's go on the other or the complementary approach that we just did a bottom-up approach to find a sweet spot, but we need to regroup certain things. So now we need to look at a bigger scale, depending on the size of your company. So from the top-down approach, so this is our, let's say, operations team, or we regroup of those three things. So you can have multiple blocks or groups of teams like that within your company, depending on the size again. So by looking at them from the top-down approach, you are all these things, and you have, again, the external sites in the intranet, and that becomes something like well-structured at a bigger scale within your organization. And you need to work on the permission management to have cross-functional teams for good collaboration, good communication, and better efficiency. So don't wait to start building your document management system, and don't worry too much about it. Right now, I'm sure that certain teams within your company, they already have a nice structure. You need to bring this approach to other teams, and you have to make sure that all these things are well accessible for you. And also you have to be careful that some of your employees are keeping files on their desktop, which is not protected at all. So you need to go in the cloud. You need to build a structure on the cloud. You need to bring all the files. Maybe it could be a personal library, depending on the technology you use. But at least if something happens to this employee or these employees, you should have access to all the files. Not all the time, but if something happens, you can extract those files and be safe. But look at this, and I know it's high level, but if you understand that, I mean, that's something that's going to bring a lot of value to your company, and could be the first project you have to do in your organization. It happens quite often that I do these things early on when I join and I work on a mandate with a customer. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe below and set up the notifications. I'm on a mission to help entrepreneurs to be successful in their transformation. Stay tuned for more videos, and don't forget to comment below with your ideas or any topics you'd like me to discuss for you.